So I saw a lot of people saying they wanted an update, and people were really kind offering advice. So thought I would provide some closure on this saga. I decided that it would be best to speak to Jane and confirm how she wanted to play it. I told her as much as I don't want to deal with Kathy, I'm not seriously going to stick to the ultimatum. Jane said she is definitely not having Kathy as a bridesmaid, and that she's sorry it even came to me having to say that. We agreed that Jane would handle any questions about Kathy and say that it wasn't about my ultimatum. On Jane and the bridesmaid thing, a lot of people were saying her aesthetic choice didn't make sense, and you were partially correct. She admitted she mostly just didn't want Elliot and Kathy to be photographed together. I told her she's a complete moron, affectionately, for not telling me because we could have prepared this better. Elliot and I also met up to talk. He explained that Kathy has a bad relationship with her family. That's why she was really hoping to bond with his. He also said she has a lot of insecurities, and that she projected a lot of these issues onto me. As for why, he shed some light on this too. Elliot's best friend, my family by marriage, shared some things with her and kind of over-egged some stories, and it set Kathy on this path of thinking I was Regina George, basically. Elliot has tried to correct her, but she won't hear it. As for her thinking I'm trying to steal him, some of you were right. She does think that my hanging out with his family means I must not dislike him as much as I say. She thinks because I have a history of dating people close to him, two people years apart, that I must secretly like him. Elliot agrees this is crazy, but Kathy just won't let go of this idea. As for us walking together, I said I would support him asking Jane if he could walk with another bridesmaid, but that if she insists, I'm going to be on her side. And Elliot agreed that was fair. He said he's been trying to be understanding of her issues, but he sees now it was wrong to force the bridesmaid issue, and he's going to focus on helping Kathy in a way that doesn't involve everyone else from now on. I left it there in regards to Kathy because it's not my place to comment. Our conversation actually turned out to be pretty productive. Elliot and I aired out a lot of things from when we were kids that I guess were overdue a conversation. We'll never be best friends, but we are getting a joint Father's Day gift for his dad. So, that's something. I'm still going to be as civil to Kathy because, honestly, she clearly has a lot bigger issues than whatever issues she has with me, and adding to it just seems pointless. That's that. All's well that ends. Decently, all things considered. We will definitely be watching her for any drama at the wedding, but for now, that's it. My hubby, 35M, and I, 31F, have had our house for about 7 years now. It's on a quiet residential street, and even though we have a few neighbors, we don't often talk much and are just friendly to one another. One of my neighbors, we'll call him Jack, has a garden. He shares a fence line with us, and on our side of the fence against it is a small tree. I don't know what kind it is. Dogwood, maybe? But it's a pretty full tree with lots of leaves. We're getting some work done on the house, painting. And while the contractors were there, Jack was talking to my husband and I about what we had planned for the house and yard, etc. He asked us if we were planning to take any more trees down. We had to take a dead one down not long ago and have gotten rid of some brush, and asked specifically about the tree on the fence line. Now, we don't care one way or other about the tree, so we were like, oh yeah, well maybe if it starts being an issue for the fence, chain link, we can relocate it or something, etc. But he kept pushing, insisting that relocation was expensive and young trees die and all that. He was a bit condescending. This was not the first time he's asked us about this tree, and he's made other backhanded comments to our contractors about us and gotten them to try and take down the tree behind our backs. Not sure what his deal is, but our other neighbors complained about him too. Finally, I said, well, if you want the tree gone so bad, you'll have to pay for it. I meant for it to sound joking, but I think it came off harsher than I meant. My hubby laughed with me at the joke, but the neighbor got mad and kind of excused himself from the conversation after that. I asked my hubby if I had overstepped, and his agreed with me. If he wants the tree gone, he can pay for it. My hubby thinks the reason he wants the tree gone so bad is because it blocks sunlight to his garden. Jack could just tell us that, but he didn't. He didn't even offer to go 50-50 on relocation with us or anything. He was just making passive aggressive comments like he knew better than us. My hubby says what I did was fine, but I'm not so sure. I want to be on at least decent terms with our neighbors, and picking a fight over a tree just isn't worth it. I'll absolutely not be doing anything to the tree, but I do feel bad for the tone of my words. So, Ada, edit. Yes, guys. I know the part of the yard in this pic of the tree and fence I posted is messy. The entire house is a fixer-upper, and that included the yard. We've spent the last 7 years working on it, and believe it or not, this is cleaned up from last year. It's all an ongoing thing as we get the funds to get stuff. We're not rich, and we can only do big projects once a year or so. This year we'll be painting the house. The fence line is just as we get to it, but we do cut the grass regularly, just a little behind on it, ARN. Dad and I, 17M, do not have a good relationship. When my mom was sick with cancer, my dad was out cheating on her and he left me to take care of my younger siblings, 12F and 11M. He even let me catch him with two different women during that time. And my mom was on hospice, so it was really difficult not to say anything. But I was so overwhelmed and scared that saying the wrong thing would take her from us sooner. This was 4 years ago, and I never forgave him for what he put me through. I told him before that I never want to be like him when I grow up, and he's no role model for me. I also called him a failure as a husband and a father. He was pissed at being called a failure as a father. But when his three kids needed him the most, he wasn't there. Instead, he was screwing women on the side. He also said he loved my mom and never wanted me to say he was all bad as her husband. I said I found it so hard to believe, and he would never convince me he actually loved her. I was still mostly in charge after mom died, but eventually my siblings started to pick up some skills, so I wasn't basically doing it all. It really helped and made us regular siblings again instead of me being almost a dad. But it was also tough because they're really young, and I hated that they were forced to grow up so fast. Losing mom did that anyway. Dad met someone a couple of years ago, and he introduced her to us last year, and it took only a few weeks for her to move in. Then suddenly she's pregnant, and they raced to get married. My dad's wife tried to involve my siblings and me in her pregnancy excitement, but I wasn't excited. And I don't think they were either. I'm pretty sure we all avoided her as much as we could. The baby was born in December, and she has been reaching out to me to help pretty often, but I don't help her. I check in on my siblings where I can, but other than that, I focus on me. I know biologically that baby is my half-sibling, but I don't care. I don't see them as a sibling, and I'm not planning to bond with them or keep them in my life once I'm in college. I won't speak to Dad either, just my siblings. Recently, Dad's wife has been pressing more for my help, and the other day, she asked me why I could be such a great big brother to my younger siblings, but I have never even held her baby or cooed over her baby. She told me she sees me do so much for my siblings and knows I was the person who helped them through when mom was sick and then when she died. She told me she figured I would want to be the same for her baby. I told her it wasn't my job to help and to get her husband to help if she needed it. She told me she wanted her baby to be accepted, and none of us had accepted the baby yet. None of us had interacted with the baby yet. She said it's not fair and she needs help. I told her I'm not her helper, and she needs to hire someone if she wants the help. Or again, get Dad. But I won't be doing anything for her or her baby. She called me disgusting. My husband and I were at his family's annual giant egg hunt. We're talking 300, 400 people, friends, family, the works. Nora, my husband's ex, known for never missing a beat to mention her Irish heritage, and for being, let's just say, overly enthusiastic about giving kids Easter gifts. This year, she gives my daughter, the only biracial child, I'm black, my husband's white, a monkey stuffed animal. Meanwhile, every other kid is getting bunnies, ducks, chicks, you name it. except one kid who got a monkey because he asked. Everyone knows she always tries to play Santa Claus at Easter, but this felt off. My husband, bless his soul, confronts Nora, asking why our daughter got the monkey. Nora, wide-eyed, pulls the "you don't think I'm racist, do you" act, even turning to me for the first time ever, looking for sympathy or validation, I guess. I was like, why are you crying? You're the one who gave my daughter a monkey. And in the midst of this, Nora has the audacity to tell me I should be grateful my daughter got anything at all. That's when I lost it. If you actually cared about her, you wouldn't have been so thoughtless with your gift choice. Nora then turns this into a sob story about how she can't have children, calling us selfish right in the middle of this drama. My father-in-law, who's usually the embodiment of chill, steps in and tells Nora she's acting like a lunatic and needs to leave. But Nora didn't stop there. She left all right, but not before calling me every name under the sun as she's escorted out by my husband and his dad. She started screaming at me that I'm a terrible mother and basically making a scene. Later, she messaged my husband, trying to guilt trip him about choosing me over her. His response? I definitely didn't make a mistake marrying my wife. The next day, Nora launches a social media post claiming she's the victim of a racist accusation. She tried to paint herself as this angel who was just trying to give out cute gifts, but was yelled at and kicked out. She even started harassing me over Facebook Messenger, calling me names, to the point where I had to block her. But the friend requests and strange messages kept coming. So, Reddit, ATA, for standing my ground and refusing to accept what I saw as a racially insensitive gift. Am I overreacting? Maybe I came off too headstrong. Edit. She's my husband's ex-girlfriend from high school, and she and her parents went to church together. And I know the title doesn't really make sense,